dare you? How dare you say that?
Let's talk about nuclear weapons.
Okay.
Our viewers, some of our viewers may say, we cannot trust Iran. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think we can trust this country. I mean, what has this country done to the majority of the countries in the Middle East? You know, like, I don't think Iran's having nuclear weapons. I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in violence. But also, when we look at the legacy of imperialism and colonization in the Middle East, and we see the legacy of this country and all of the violence that it has not only created, but also created the capacity for. A lot of these weapons in the Middle East are completely brought in by the United States.
A lot of Americans might take offense to that. You're an American. You don't sound like an American when you say that. You know what I mean?
That's because I've read, you know, and I think that it's really important that we look beyond sort of these really simple narratives that we're told, whether it's about Muslim women, whether it's about the legacy of this country, and knowing that this country literally was built on the backs of black slaves and after the genocide of indigenous people.
Good for her. She straight up just said you're not American. I would have been fuming out the gate.
That was a very bold comment for that news reporter to make. Who the hell are you to tell anyone you sound or don't sound American? Because of the fact that she's calling out the US on their bullshit, you don't sound American?
You disagree with American foreign policy and you're like, you should just like move out of America, like, you know, like love it or leave it.
Apparently we have freedom of speech where you're supposed to think a certain way or you don't sound American, you don't sound like you belong here.
So crazy about this is she is literally invited to this interview to talk about her book about fashion, and then how it just randomly took like a left turn for talking about nuclear weapons in Iran.
When I saw fashion blogger and this dude's like, yo, let's talk about nuclear weapons, that's why I straight up chuckled. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I feel like she should have been like, what does this have to do with clothes? Is there some nuclear material that's like getting woven into my fabric?
That's like me walking to a random person in New York asking them why does America spend trillions of dollars on the military for?
You know, this happens a lot. I feel like when you're like a Muslim woman or when you're like hijabi and like you're very obviously Muslim, or even with men, like if you're very obviously, if you're like a Muhammad with like a beard and like all this stuff, for some reason you become this spokesperson on these like really big topics that sometimes you're not even well versed on. Like, why are we suddenly put in this way where we're just like, we're expected to answer to all these like very big and very difficult questions?
The Ummah is fortunate that she had all this knowledge, mashallah, because they were hoping for just her to not know anything, and then wham, they'd like get her.
I really like her response. She clearly knows what she's talking about. I love how she said she's read. She didn't say, oh, that's my opinion. No, she's read. These are the facts.
There are instructions in the Quran that you should wear a full face band.
That's the thing. Like, I find it a little bit patronizing if someone who doesn't share my faith tell me what I should believe or not. The truth is, the word niqab, the face veil, the word hijab, even the headscarf, is not mentioned in the Quran. There are different words mentioned in that context, which is the garment. And the garment has different interpretations, and that's why you see Muslim women expressing their faith differently.
But Sahad, I think one of the feminist issues is that this only applies to women, and it is about covering up, because your beauty might provide a distraction or a provocation to men.
That is not true. It's not about showing or not showing my beauty. It's about submission to God.
I don't understand why we're still trying to prove ourselves to white people. We need to move past that. You get it, you get it, you don't, you're behind.
My mom recently is a niqabi, so that's her choice. She didn't make that choice because anyone mandated her.
No one, especially a man, who doesn't share her faith should be telling her how she should interpret it.
I agree. I think it's crazy too because you see nuns every day covered head to toe. No, I think they get praised every day. Nobody says nothing. Jewish ladies, they're always very modestly covered. Nobody says nothing. When it comes to the Muslims who it's a problem, they're being oppressed, they have to do it. In reality, I don't think they have to do anything. They choose to do it.
It's so exhausting how Western ideologies keep on being perpetuated and pitted against Islam, when, you know, Islam has been the progression for society.
I feel like I was in that like stage too at some point in my life where, you know, you try to like say, oh, hijab, it's like a feminist thing, it's this, it's that, and you want to make Islam very digestible, when in reality it's just something between you and Allah, and you're submitting to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's what it is.
But with Islam, we know obviously women have many rights. There is a foundation and goals to follow, to adhere by, and with this, the mantra of religious erosion equals progression, it just goes on forever until what? I don't know.
They're like making the niqab like this like feminist issue where it's like, oh, like, you know, you shouldn't be wearing the niqab because for men, and she's like straight up like, no, I'm not wearing the niqab for a man. But yet, like, this feminist is like shoving this narrative down her throat. Like, kudos to Muslim women. You know, people gotta stop, governments and individuals have to stop telling Muslim women how to dress.
There's a large section of it that unfortunately is violent. And if you read the Quran, as I've read it, there is a lot of verses in there absolutely bluntly saying in the current sense that you are to take off at the head of those that do not agree with you, and you are to go after those that do not believe in Allah. And there is a lot of people in the world that believe in the extremism of Islam. And to say that it's not... Hold on.
This is just pure ignorance at its finest.
This is just like such a stupid point that is like promoted like on and on over the years.
Yeah, who gave you the man? I'm so sorry. He got the wrong copy. I don't know whose book that was. That's not the Quran at all.
When the gentleman on the right asked him what section, what part of Islam dictates that, he didn't give him a specific answer because he himself has no idea what he's talking about.
You're taking the actions of a few extremist groups and you're making it the sort of actions of an entire Muslim population.
People who know nothing about the Quran, the translations that they read that come from whatever Islamophobic website and then it's pasted onto a meme are like totally wrong and outlandish many of times. I remember seeing that online.
When you go to read the Quran from a standpoint that he is, you're obviously going in to look for negative information, and you're gonna see it in that view, just because that's confirmation bias, right? Like, you're gonna find information supporting what you want to look for because that's the intent of what you're looking for.
There is not anything that blunt in the Quran, but what he is speaking about was during a time of war, and when the Muslims were being persecuted and being kicked out of Mecca. When they were trying to fight back and hold their grounds, Allah revealed to them that they can stand up and defend themselves against those who want to kill you, or who want to kill you because you believe in a certain religion. You can defend yourself.
And the thing is, he's also picking and choosing, because the Quran does say that, but also says if they surrender, show them peace.
Yeah, at the same time, he's also skipping on the lines where in times of war you can't hurt women or children, or you can't cut down trees, can't hurt animals like horses or any of that.
But like, definitely there is such a level of misunderstanding, like they don't know what the Quran is, and if they would just take the time to look beyond what the secular historiography says, that the Quran just exists and like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam just wrote it himself. No, like if they actually took the time to like look at that, I think their thinking would change.
Which is why you should subscribe to Muslim on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, and stay in the know of all Muslim news updates. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for watching.